Hello. Okay. So people can hear me, right? Great. It's very nice to be here with you in Consensus. It's my first time to join the Consensus conference. I really like the city, but not the weather. So the first question that I want to ask you is about, have you sold your Bitcoin? I think this question will break some hearts. Okay. So today I will make a presentation about NEOID as a project manager and co-designer. This one, right? Great. I'm Peter. So my presentation consists like 3 parts: identity, network, and smart economy. So identity is a very, it's a not very unique concept. Everybody knows about it. So the core concept of identity is about the I. Without I, it's not identity, all right? So when we start working on identity, we read some articles. This one I will recommend it to you. So it's written by Christopher Allen. In general, it describes about the evolution of identity. You can see the history of identity. So it described the history from like 2 angles, all right? So the first angle is about user control. The other is about portability. So identity, like it evolves in 4 stages. The first is centralized and federated, user-centric, and self-sovereign. So I will make it easy for you. Just remember these 3 stages is all right. So the first is silo model. It's very easy. If you don't have like a Google email, you just register it, all right? So you just provide your personal information to Google and you just register an email. So the second is federated model. I think most people have used it. For example, I want to buy some tickets in New York for some attractions, right? So the officer will tell me, please give me your personal information. But it's not necessary like give them all my personal information. In general, they just ask if you have like a Facebook account or a Google email account, and you can register for a ticket. So this is federated model. So the third is sovereign identity. For silo model, we use it like for a very long time. So we have several standards or protocols like HTTPS, SSL, and stuff. So for federated model, we use it like in recent 10 or 20 years. Some protocol or standards like OAuth 2, OIDC, and so on. For sovereign identity, is there any standard or like protocol for us to use? Okay, there are 2 organizations. One is W3C, the other is DIF, Decentralized Identity Foundation. So these 2 organizations have standards and protocols about identities in internet. So if you are interested in decentralized identity or self-sovereign identities, you just check internet by yourself. I will not dive into all these subjects today because there are like a lot of information in internet, all right? So this picture just describes how it works. It's not very complicated. But if this is everything, my presentation will just stop because I think if you check the internet, it's about like 15 or even 20 projects which are working on identity, working on self-sovereign identity subjects. So what's new about NEOID? Why it's unique? Why we need to like listen to this presentation? So when we start thinking about it, we use first principle thinking method. So we want to like think it all over again. All right. So the real world is very complicated, right? Just look people around you. We have like billions of people, and not just people. We have things, a lot of things. I think there are a lot of topics about IoT in this conference, right? And also, we are focusing on blockchain. So there are a lot of servers which are running nodes. So in real world, things get very complicated. So we cannot just use identity to help us to understand the real world, which means we need a new concept that is entity. So if you're familiar with graph theory, it's very easy to understand this picture. So we use a very simple mathematical model to simplify the real world. So the V represents entities. It's like people or node or things. And we use E and A to describe the interactions between these entities. And all of this is a system. We call it a network. So this is basically the model that we want to use to describe the real world. So let's split it into three models. The first is about trust model. The second is about game model. The third is about privacy model. So within these three models, we can describe all about the relationships between entities and entity itself. So the most important thing is trust. For example, if I want to like prove that I'm Peter, so how should I do it? If people just believe me or trust me, then I think I need to do nothing, right? So the most important thing is about trust. So how to describe trust? It's not like a mathematical concept, but we need to analyze it. So we analyze trust from three perspectives. It's trust value, trust function, and trust network. So what's trust value? Just imagine two entities, maybe two people, all right? So Peter and Longfei. So if Peter trusts Longfei, so we can use trust value to evaluate this relationship. So it ranges from -1 to 1. Then we get a table. So we can describe this trust by using this table. You can see if I completely trust Longfei, the trust value will be 1. If I distrust him, it's -1. It's easy to understand, right? So the trust function defines the relationship between two entities. And then we have a network, so we need to describe two entities in a network. This is the real trust function that we need to use. So with trust value and trust function, we have trust network. So we use this to describe the trust network. You can see two people like I or J. If they're in the vertices categories, the trust value will ranges from -1 to 1. If they are not in this network, we don't need to like care about them, all right? So which means trust value is 0. So when we have trust model, then we need a game model to describe how the interactions between all these entities. Then we have game model. So just ignore all these equations. Just remember that if we want to like describe the real world, there will be a lot of interactions and relationships between all these entities. So we need like an incentive and punishment mechanism to help this dynamic model to like give people right incentives or punishments. So this game model just describes all these things. So it has three roles: truster, trustee, and recommender. Okay, the third model is about privacy model. I will not like explain a lot about this model because mainly we use zero knowledge proof technology to solve this privacy model. It's still developing, but the thing, how it works is very easy. It's described in this graph. Okay, so the third part is I want to describe a little bit about smart economy. So what is NEO? So I'm presenting like NEOID. So what is NEO? From my perspective, I think NEO is like Turing complete distributed ledger. So what can you do? If it's Turing complete, which means anything can be computed, can be solved on NEO, which means you can just consider it as a platform that nothing is impossible. All right. So NEO launches its mainnet in 2016. It's kind of early, and so the NEO, as known, the first version of NEO we know about it is about ant shares, if anyone knows about it. So the first slogan or first vision that we have is digital assets for everyone. At that time, you will see a lot of coins in like exchange or anything you can see. It's very similar to Bitcoin. So we just want to build some system to like help people to use digital assets. As you all know, Bitcoin has a very long time to confirmation time to like get a transaction to be final. So this is the first vision. But after that, we got another vision. It's about smart economy because we saw that the potential of the blockchain industry. So we think maybe blockchain can change this world. So the second vision is about smart economy. What's smart economy? Let's just make it simple. So within three parts, we can build a smart economy, which are smart contract, digital assets, and digital identity. So we just held our second Devcon this year in Seattle. We call it Continue. The subject of this Devcon is Continue. So the weather is not very good either. So a lot of people coming. It's a quite successful event. At that time, we launched our NEO 3.0 schedule. So I think you have already read about the articles about the NEO 3.0 roadmap. So this is the roadmap. You can see NEOID is part of it, and the timeline is about 2020 in Q2. So the first thing you can see from this roadmap is about the new consensus algorithm. It's called DBFT 2.0. So we just released this DBFT 2.0 in testnet. So it's running, and we think it's like more robust and stable. So I think it can help NEO get more stability and robustness. to help people to like build smart economy on it. So why I mentioned about DBFT 2.0, because the most important feature of this consensus algorithm is about finality. So please check this, this picture. So you can see for the POW or POS, you may need get a fork or sometime, right? So it's very hard to have a very good finality. Also, you have to count time variable. So for Bitcoin, it's like it costs about like 20 minutes to confirm a transaction, and the POS still has like the possibility to get a fork. So the system is not very suitable for us to like build NEOID or other solutions on it. That's why we use a very different consensus algorithm, which is DBFT. So DBFT has a very good finality. It has only one branch, and the consensus time is about like 15 to 20 seconds. So if you send a transaction in your network, it costs you about like 20 seconds to get it confirmed in blockchain, which means this consensus algorithm can help us to build identity solution better. So for now, we have two projects running on NEO, building on NEO, which are Seraph ID and Third Ledger. Seraph ID is a very typical DID solution built by Swisscom blockchain on NEO. So the roadmap is like quite the same as the 3.0 roadmap. So the timeline is like in June or July, it will have some POC to show. Another one is Third Ledger. It's mainly based on certificate. So it's a little different from the Seraph ID because it's based on certificate. It's like a hierarchical system. So it's a little different. Okay, so why we propose NEOID? Because we think we have already have like 20 solutions about identities. None of them have any like simulation or something to tell people that this identity solution can help us in this blockchain network to help people to like solve the real identity problems. That's why we need to like think it all over again and build NEOID. It's like something very basic. So modern economy is based on this assumption, I think. It's economic man. So when we build smart economy, we also need something very basic, which is NEOID. So I hope NEOID can be the very basic foundation in this NEO 3.0 vision, and all these ID solutions can be built on NEOID. And this is my information. If you are interested in this project, you can contact with me. Okay, thank you.